such a small explosive. It should be said that it's widely agreed they weren't designed with children in mind. They probably won't kill someone outright, but they might maim you and definitely make a mess of your body. They're also super sensitive, and since they're made out of plastic, can't be found with metal detectors. They hide under leaves, they look like bits of trash. You'll see one and you'll kick it, and then you'll have no foot. Russia made them famous when the Soviet Union started dropping swarms of them after it invaded Afghanistan in the 1980s. The Soviet Union invented these things, although the U.S. has had similar mines in the Vietnam War when it was dropping millions of mines on Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia that would be taking off limbs for decades to come. This led to laws being put in place around such mines. Countries that use such weapons are majorly frowned upon, so it's strange and disheartening to hear that we've seen them in Ukraine. They became a huge talking point, and as usual, each side put the blame on the other. To some extent, the days of these mines are over, since 164 countries have signed and ratified the Ottawa Treaty, which is an agreement to outlaw the use of anti-personnel mines, such as the butterflies we're talking about today. Ukraine has signed it, Russia and the U.S. have not. This is problematic. No one wants future generations of Ukrainian kids looking like the aforementioned victims in Afghanistan and Southeast Asia. Unfortunately, it's already happening and will likely keep happening, and in the future, there's going to be a hell of a lot of media space about this grim topic. But right now, things are quiet, especially where Ukrainian use of mines is concerned. The question everyone's been asking is, who is using them? In 2022, there were many reports about Russia using butterfly mines in Ukraine, which were then shared on Twitter, sometimes by Ukrainian officials. It was a bad look for Russia. We should explain that Ukraine, having signed the Ottawa Treaty, told the EU in 2012 it would destroy all its butterfly mines. It did destroy hundreds of thousands of them, but failed to meet the destruction quota after the EU handed over €3 million for the job. In 2020, Ukraine said it would not destroy any more and was keeping its stockpile of 3,363,828. This is where the story gets murky, because Russia has said Ukraine has been using them, and Ukraine has said Russia has been using them. What is certain is someone has been using them. One of the stories widely shared in the West by Ukrainian officials included the words, in the Kharkiv region, the Russian invaders are using internationally banned butterfly mines. In recent conflicts, children are known to pick them up. Many of these stories use the same photo, but none of the stories actually explained that the photo was 6 years old. Other stories said Russia had used these butterfly mines at Sumy and Mariupol, which was reported in some Western media. The Daily Mail reported Putin's forces are laying indiscriminate butterfly landmines that children could confuse for toys in eastern Ukraine. Again, there was no actual evidence in the article, but talk about limbless children caused volcanic outrage. In a 19-page report written prior to these news stories, Human Rights Watch showed ample evidence that Russia had used 7 types of anti-personnel mines, but didn't mention the butterfly mines, nor did it talk about injuries. Russia was rightly condemned for the ones it did. Human Rights Watch said Russia had used the PLM-3 anti-personnel mine, aka the Medallion. Not a mine that looks like a toy, but an illegal, terrifying, destructive mine nonetheless. These mines were fired by the ISDN Zimnedela-1 mine-laying rocket launcher, which can send mines up to 10 miles away. Again, we cannot stress enough how much of the world is really against such weapons, so their use by Russia in Ukraine is not always expected. The medallions have a sensitive seismic fuse, which means they can go off even when someone is approaching them. They also sometimes explode all by themselves. Human Rights Watch wrote, Russian forces have repeatedly used anti-personnel mines and committed atrocities across the country, but this doesn't justify Ukrainian use of these prohibited weapons. The story now is saying both countries have breached international humanitarian law. It should also be said that Russia used similar mines between 2014 and 2015 in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, and there were no reports of Ukraine using them. But in 2022, videos showed how Ukraine had used them in Donetsk. They were all over the place in some of these videos. HRW said in January 2023, Ukraine should investigate its military's apparent use of thousands of rocket-fired anti-personnel landmines in and around the eastern city of Izium when Russian forces occupied the area. It added that Ukrainian forces had been firing butterfly mines or petal mines in large numbers over Russian military facilities. Pictures were taken this time stating each mine was filled with 37 grams of liquid explosive. NPR later wrote, many mines reportedly ended up in private vegetable gardens near sidewalks and on residential roofs. The cities Ukrainian medical workers worked in reported they had to amputate limbs from almost as many as 50 people, including 5 children, as a result of mine injuries. A 77-year-old man was killed after stepping on one, and according to Human Rights Watch, 4 lost their foot or lower leg. It added that a healthcare worker at Izumi Central Hospital reported medical staff had amputated 20 to 30 lower limbs as a result of injuries caused by these mines. The number rose to 50, with most cases resulting in traumatic damage. In one case, a bunch of them were found. The people of America. I deliver this message to you, the people of Britain. And I deliver this message to you, especially the people of Australia. We will not stop fighting, we will not put down our weapons until we reach your land, until we reach the head of every tyrant, and until the black flag is flying high in every single land, until we put the black flag on top of Buckingham Palace, until we put the black flag on top of the White House, and we bring the flag into Gaza. We are coming, will restore you in Gaza. For 30 years, I've been covering last with this one. Hezbollah, Hamas, Gaza, Lebanon, China, and Iraq. And never have I ever seen a militia like ISIS. You get people to basically become inspired, pass on their own, it's an enormous headache. We all talk about social media, we all talk about the power to recruit by ISIS, but we never really see it. So I decided to look around for people freelancers. These are unusual freelancers that all work on security services. They work create these social advertising. People will go online and will ISIS see if they'll try to recruit them. One is a PO, Swede, and the other is Sarah in Australia. Security and anonymity is key, so we're hiding their identity, and we're going to see it. ISIS, well, the bigger not.